to me is worth 180. It's not worth
Right, and
210.
the rent estimates, even at full ARV potential in that area, are like 1,300, 1,400.
Yeah.
1% rule of that would be 140,000. So if it was a typical investor play, I would imagine you would probably offer around 140,000 for that property. Kind of just how we comp the duplexes, Kylie, same way. I would imagine it'd be 140. So truly, that property's not even worth what she has in mortgage balance. But if you could get a good deal and say the solar panels and the mortgage balance, we're at a good rate to where you could possibly profit off a sub two deal, not giving her any cash for equity, just solely taking over those payments. Do you think that would be a good play, even though
So pretty
it's
much you're going to work backwards. I'll share my screen with everybody. We'll just talk about a theoretical example. So we understand the situation here. Let me make sure I share my screen. So here we're going live right now. Y'all can see my screen. All right, wonderful. Let me hop over to here. So we have a house. Skylar talked about. Now these numbers may not be accurate, Skylar, but honestly, it doesn't really matter. Um, my tablet's not working. Cool. There's always problems when you go live, isn't there? Well, I guess I can just write it out. My writing's gonna be terrible, so bear with me. Then I'll fix it.
I have a
So
question.
yeah, go for it.
Why do investors not like solar panels?
Okay, so it's essentially just a second. That's a great question. I didn't explain that. It's a second mortgage on your house, and they don't have any resale value. So it's like buying a I don't know what's some high end item that just goes down in value so much. There's a lot of like
hard.
cars that you'll buy and then you'll drive it off the lot and then they're worth like 80% of what you just bought it for.
Right.
Solar panels are like that. They just don't have any resale value. They're it. I mean, again, maybe I shouldn't be saying this. To me, solar is a big scam. I love that. Sure, we're helping the environment and all that stuff, but these companies are just scamming, and they always prey on very poor people, not financially literate people, the people who are selling solar. And again, if you're selling solar, I'm sorry, I'm not meaning to offend you or anything, but they're usually they're preying on veterans, people like that, and then they get them into these 30-year loans and these ridiculous prices, and they're just a nightmare. So yeah. So, but yeah, we would just work backwards on that equation. So let me flip back over to this. I'm sorry, again, my tablet's not working, so this is just gonna be terrible writing. But we have a house. We'll just say this house is. We have a $180,000 mortgage on this house. I'm writing with my mouse, so if it looks terrible, I deeply apologize. And now we have a $30,000 solar panel loan in second position. So if you guys have a question what the difference from first and second position is, just let me know. But these solar panels, they're going to be a lien on the property, so they need to be paid off. When you sell a house, someone's going to either have to take over these loan payments or pay this off in full. So you could come in and pay this $30,000 off in cash, which you may do if the loan is very expensive. So the loan that I took over, or I helped the guy take over on those solar panels, it was like 2% interest. Oh, that's not well drawn. What's an eraser? Well, here. Anyways, you get the point. It was like 2% interest. So that's one where you made to say, okay, I'll sub to it. I'm not going to pay it off. It's not letting me do a percent sign. Fun. But if it's like 8%, then you may just want to pay off this solar panel entirely. It's not worth it. So that's pretty much that. And then if you're calculating it, what you would do is you would just determine what the monthly payments are on that. So here your monthly payments, let's say, are $900 a month. All right. So here it's the same thing. Here it says, okay, my monthly payments for my solar are $200 a month, and then if my rent is, I don't know, 2,000. Okay, and then now all you're doing is just subtracting two loans now. So now you got $1,100 in loans, and then you want to subtract your taxes, and then your insurance. And if you still break even on your property, if you break even or you still cash flow, there we go. If you break even or cash flow, then you're like, fine, maybe I'll just take this house over sub two and take the solar panel loans over sub two because I'm still breaking even or cash flowing. Now, what's the nice part about solar panels is that, well, you have cheap electricity. So oftentimes your electricity bill will be zero. So solar panels, if you really think about it cleverly, they're better on houses where you, the um, landlord, pay utilities. So what type of houses do landlords usually pay utilities? It's usually not on long-term rentals. When you're doing a long-term rental, you, the landlord, you're the tenant usually pays utilities. So solar panels not so great on that. And you usually, so let's say that your average utility bill for electricity is $300 a month. You usually cannot raise rent $300 just because you have free electricity. I know you think you would in reality, but you can't. It doesn't work that way. You just won't be able to rent your house. So maybe you can get $50 more, $100 more in rent per month, but you can't get the full 300. So long-term rentals, when you have solar panels on them, are not as effective. You want something where you, the landlord, are paying utilities. So what type of rentals do you, the landlord, pay utilities? Oftentimes it's a creative type of rental, a short-term rental. In a short-term rental, the people in Airbnbs, they don't pay utility bills. So a solar panel on this one could be more effective. I would maybe think, hey, if I'm buying a property sub two and they have solar panels on it, but this is going to be a short-term rental, maybe I don't mind so much because now the solar panels actually have a value to me. You know what? I did the math and they're saving me $250 a month. Okay, they actually have, you can prescribe them a value. So now they're not worth zero. What else? Midterm rentals, traveling nurse housing, pilot housing with crash pads, tons of midterm rentals, sober living. When you're doing sober living, oftentimes you, the landlord, you're paying utilities. I have student housing rentals. My tenants pay utilities, but oftentimes with student housing, you, the landlord, are paying utilities. So things like that. So I hope that gave you guys some help there. What's up, Corey? If you guys have questions, feel free to shoot for it. But I just treat it as a second mortgage and then just run the numbers accordingly.
I can't see your screen.
Did you guys not see the screen the whole time?
Oh, I know you was writing. I just see a calculator.
Oh, no. Yeah. Well, I mean, the whole time I was writing, you guys didn't see my screen?
No.
Guys,
Just about bad.
why did you guys not say something every time y'all do this to me? Oh my God. All right. Then wait. I've got to make sure I share the right screen. That was on a different tab. You guys can interrupt me, please. Skylar, that's your job, man. I feel awful now. Well, anyways, I can. I think hopefully you guys understood the point, but I was writing it out. Let me make sure I'm sharing the right screen. But anyways, now do you have questions? Unfortunately, y'all didn't see my screen, but it's on YouTube, so YouTube saw my screen.
No, I understood it. I do have another question though, just about being in
Sure.
Dallas Fort Worth area. You guys do Section 8 there?
Yeah. We're actually, so we just bought a property for our fund, and we are going to Section 8 it most likely because it makes a lot of money. And I'm not too familiar with Section 8, so are you very knowledgeable on it?
Yeah, I do Section 8 in Ohio,
Cool.
in that area where the houses are a little bit cheaper. But yeah, same thing. But I was just gonna ask, is there a specific cash flow that you're trying to get with that, or does that matter?
So Section 8 for me is not something I'm an expert on. For all y'all to know, that Section 8
Um,
is pretty much affordable housing, and it's
yeah,
through the government. The nice part about Section 8, it's more work, but it's guaranteed income by the government. The government's the one paying you, so the checks are very reliable. Can't get more reliable than the government, and oftentimes it can make more money. So you could have a rental that's $2,000 in long-term rent, but maybe with Section 8 it can be 25 or 3,000. But it's a lot of filing paperwork and doing all that. And you can chime in because again, you probably know more than me. But yeah, Section 8 is very popular here.
yeah, okay. I was just asking because the Section 8 buyers that I do deal with in Ohio, they kind of want a minimum cash flow of about 300, 250 in our ballpark,
Sure.
but it could be more, but just minimum wise. And that's why I was just asking if there was a minimum if we bought you a Section 8 deal that cash flows.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know the minimum cash flow for a Section 8. So right now y'all see this screen. Let's see if I can get it so that you see. Okay, you guys tell me. Are you guys going to see the journal screen now? Do you guys see the writing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, we got the right screen. I know how to do it now. Every day we're getting better on Discord. Okay, so next time I'm drawing this out, mention something if you guys don't see it. So, anyways, if that example didn't make sense to you because you couldn't literally see it, it will be on YouTube. So, anyways, no, great question, Skylar. Anyone else have a question? So we're getting there. Every day we're getting better at these live streams. Okay, Angelica's typing. Angelica, it's all you. And then I know there was some people who had sub 2 questions. Does anyone here own a a property sub two or with seller financing? No one. Does anyone here, has anyone
No.
wholesaled a property with sub two or seller finance? Anyone did a creative wholesale before? I have a sub two deal in San Antonio right now. Is this a whole live stream going to be on YouTube? Yes, it is, and it will actually have the right screens on it. Yeah, yes, it will be on. So yeah, so you do have a sub two deal in San Antonio. So it's a property you're trying to wholesale, Angelica. Okay, cool. Do you need help with it? Do you want to work on the numbers? Do you need help with anything on it? A lot of time. So okay, so when it comes to wholesaling creative, I've wholesaled sub two and wholesaled seller finance. It's tough. Wholesaling cash is by far a lot easier. I mean, you just saw Kylie. What are we at? We're at week number 2, and she's closed. She's closing her second cash deal. Cash is such a easy pitch, but oftentimes cash doesn't work because it's just too low. And then once a deal doesn't work, then I bucket it as a dead cash deal, and I come back and revive it with creative finance. I revive it with sub two. I revive it with seller finance. How do you choose if you should do sub two or seller finance? Sub two is if they have a mortgage, if they have a loan, if they have debt on their property, you think sub two. If they don't have a mortgage, you think seller finance. And then whether you do a hybrid, that depends on sub two. Whether you do Morby method depends on seller finance. And if none of that works and cash doesn't work, then you're like, can we do innovation? And if none of that works, well, they're just never going to sell their house, right? So those are your options. Um, but no, I absolutely love it. I think investing creatively is the only way to invest. But I mean, not the only way. I own properties traditionally, but it's the best way to invest. But wholesaling, if you're into wholesaling, I think wholesaling cash makes the most sense if you're trying to make money. It's just genuinely easier, and that's something I learned the hard way. I wish I would have learned that sooner, but it did teach me a lot about creative finance. All right. Well, if you guys have questions, let me know if you want to ask. If not, we can cold call some realtors right now and just pitch uh subject to and seller finance. You know how I pitch it. Again, I usually pitch it after I present a cash offer, but some deals just scream sub two. If I'm calling a property and it's a pre-foreclosure and I'm talking to the realtor and the realtor says they bought the house in 2021, sub two all day long. I'm like sub two, sub two, sub two, because I know that they have a 3% mortgage. I know they're in pre foreclosure. I know they probably have low equity. Sub two, I want to take over that loan all day long. So if you guys want, we can just call some properties. I absolutely don't mind. It could be fun. In the meantime, let me know if you have questions. Can you guys see my MLS screen this time? Oh, great. My account's disabled.
How do you set up a sub two? Don't you have to have someone kind of ready to take on the expenses of the mortgage?
Sure. So you're talking about wholesaling it or buying it? Or just in general?
Just in general.
Easy. So you have a house, and this house you usually want to sub to a loan that's a low rate loan. Right now, mortgages are 8%. You know, 80% of mortgages in America are under 4 to 5%. So if most loans out there are 2, 3, 4, 5%, and that's much better than 8%. So you're calling properties, and the pitch is, hey, I can pay you more money if I can take over your low rate loan. I can pay you more for your house if I can get that 3% mortgage. So that's the pitch. And then how does it work? It works really simple. It's just like, hey, I'm just going to make your monthly mortgage payments every single month on time on the first. And they're like, wait, how does that work? Well, the debt still stays in the seller's name. So when you buy a house, you have title and deed, you have the ownership.
You
Go
misunderstood
ahead.
my question. You misunderstood my question.
I'm sure I did.
Um, after
Yeah.
after you get the sub two agreed to,
Yes.
how do I, as the wholesaler, take on that mortgage payment or find a client to take on that mortgage payment? Where does the money come for me?
Okay. Oh, great question. So it comes from the purchase price. So here, you guys see my screen now, right? I'm just going to make sure I confirm everything. So I have to write it
Yeah.
out. So you have a house that's a sub two house. And when you have a cash deal, it's really simple. You bought a house for, I don't know, how much did you buy a house for? Let's say you bought a house for 180,000 as a wholesaler. Well, then you assigned the deal, right? You assigned it to an end buyer at 190,000. So you, the wholesaler, how much did you make? You made 10K. right? You make your money off of increasing the purchase price. And it's the exact same thing with sub two. You just increase the purchase price. So if there's a $150,000 loan on a property, and whatever that can be 3%, that can be whatever the heck it wants to be. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to sell it to an end buyer at 160,000, and you're going to make that 10%, $10,000 spread. So that's how it works. You're just you're assigning it for a higher purchase price. It has nothing to do with the actual underlying loan. Did that answer your question now?
So someone else is making the mortgage payments.
Yeah. So then now this buyer that bought the property, now he's making those mortgage payments every single month, most likely through a servicing company. You are out of the deal more or less. There is still a little bit of liability, but yes.
Where do you get the buyer?
That's a whole question. So in wholesaling, you have acquisitions and then you have dispositions. So you are doing direct to seller, finding deals, right? And then you could also try to do the dispositions too, which is building your buyers list and finding these buyers. Or you can partner with the dispositions company, partner with someone who already has buyers. So you can go into groups like, Pace Morby's group and post your deals in there, like right here. You can go into Pace Morby's group and post it in there. But your best buyers are not going to come from posting deals in Facebook or a website called Investors Lift. Your best buyers are going to come from you knowing these people, you having lunch with them, you're shaking their hands, you know these people. So there's really two sides of wholesaling. You can focus on dispositions, which is just buyers and people bring you deals. That's what my company does. Or you could be focusing on finding deals. It's hard to do both. I actually don't know how you could scale both. So if I were you, I would pick one and really try to focus on one, and then use a partner and partner with the company for the other one. But you would find most of the people but short answer is most of the people are finding their investors on Facebook. Facebook's your networking tool. Good questions. I was always confused when I started wholesaling. It's like, wait, how do I get paid? You're just bumping up the purchase price. So, okay. So Angelica had a question. Sure, I believe you had a video on how to determine the entry fee or down payment amount, but do you mind explaining it? Okay. Sure. So what is entry fee? Entry fee is the price that it takes to get into a deal. So what's the entry fee on a cash deal? If I buy a deal for $100,000 cash and I wholesale it for $120,000 cash, what's the entry fee? Well, it's $120,000 plus, I don't know, maybe there's closing costs, right? There may be some other costs involved, but it's pretty much the whole purchase price. With sub two or seller finance, the point of creative finance is to buy real estate with as little money as possible. You don't want to use any cash. So you're trying to buy deals for little bit of money, $0,000, $5,000, $10,000. So that's why entry fee is so important. And how do you calculate that? Well, I have a video on my YouTube, but more or less, let's look at her example here. So Angelica is saying that there's a loan balance of $342,000. There's a mortgage of $342,000. The monthly payment, so on and so forth. That doesn't really matter too much. They're asking $40K. So what do you mean by they're asking $40K? So that means they're trying to sell the house for $382,000. Most likely that's what she means. So most people think that is the entry fee. You're asking $40K. So yeah, so you're trying to sell the house for $382,000. So you're asking for a $40,000. Wait, okay, let me just get something clear. What's the sale price of the house? Because your assignment fee is 40,000. We'll see. There you go. The owner wants 15,000. So add 55,000 to 342,000. That's 397,000. If my math is correct. So you're trying to sell the house for 397,000. So what would the entry fee be? Well, the entry fee would be 57,000. So her $40,000 assignment fee plus the owner's $15,000 cash plus probably $5,000 in closing costs. Plus, there's always a little bit more stuff, but so you'd be about 60,000. Is that a lot? That's a ton. That's too much. So Angelica, my advice to you is 4K all in. So you're asking 25,000. You're probably asking too much. Here, let me mute.
I mean, I think I'm on work Saturday.
Oh, here,
I don't know.
Let me mute him. So yeah, I think 25K is too much, and that's the problem with creative wholesaling is that it's hard to make a lot of money. because you're at odds here. So what again? This is coming from the guy who loves creative finance. But the problem with creative finance and wholesaling it is that creative finance investors are cheap. The whole point of creative finance is to pay the lowest amount possible to get into a deal. Cash buyers don't care. It's as long as the numbers work for them. So they don't want to pay big assignment fees because that money is cash. It comes straight out of their pocket. So although 25K doesn't sound like a lot, I can tell you that you're probably the most you can get on this deal is maybe 10 to 15,000. The average assignment fee is usually 5 to 15,000. I usually think about it how much a realtor would get paid. Realtor gets paid 3%. If you're looking at a $400,000 house, then that's a $12,000 commission. So usually line it up with roughly what a realtor would make on a sale. Maybe bump up a little bit more. Okay, so really good for Angelica. She says she has a buyer that wants to live in it personally. So that's great. If you can sell it to a retail buyer, you can make a lot more than if you can sell it to an investor. So you could maybe get 25K. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying I don't know many investors that would pay that, but maybe a retail buyer would. So, well, she can't hear me, but that's unfortunate. I don't know what to say. Yeah, just mute the other people who are talking. I muted them. So, anyways, hopefully that helped you out. So yeah, you have a deal at 3.5% mortgage. That sounds great. Monthly payments of 2,700. It's in San Antonio. It probably doesn't cash flow, or it breaks even. Crazy to think that a 3.5% mortgage doesn't cash flow, but in Texas, that's highly likely the situation because taxes here are brutal. Capstone, I'm gonna have to mute you because you have wind in your background. If you guys are muted and you want to get unmuted, just message here. Okay, hey, tell me some phone numbers to call. Unfortunately, it looks like I don't have access to MLS today. I don't know what's going on. So I have to call MLS and see what the heck happened. Let's call this. Who am I calling? What's the address of this property I'm calling? Property in Plano. Love it. Put the address in there and I'll call them right now. Is there anything that you want me to ask for you? Here. So we're not going to be rocking MLS today, guys. We're going to be rocking Zillow, unfortunately. It's going to be a little tougher to get phone numbers. But I don't know. Maybe they revoked my realtor status. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I didn't pay my MLS dues. I'm changing brokerages, so that may be what's going on. So he sent me an address. How long does it take to get a response after submitting a deal? Where did you submit the deal? Because we answered all cash deals today. Did you submit a creative deal? So just so you know, everybody who's watching on YouTube or in general, this is a Discord group, and you can submit deals for me to give you a price back so we can dispo it or buy it ourselves. You submitted a cash deal. Did you submit it like after like 2 p.m.? Because I answered all deals. But long story short is, I'll just give you a price that we can buy your deal at. Creative deals are taking me longer to give you numbers back on because I'm personally not doing those. I'm working with a friend of Pace's, and he's doing my creative dispo. So you'll be working with my friend Pace, and I'll connect you with him. I need to call him today. Sub 2 criteria before we call your number, 5, 10, 12 rule. So if you have a deal that fits the 5, 10, 12 rule, that's a good deal. So under a 5% interest rate, under a 10% entry fee, and more than a 12% cash on cash return. I know that was a lot of information, but we can talk about that in a second. But that's an incredible deal. Okay, you submitted around 1 today. I just missed it. If you're comfortable me comping it in public right now with other people looking, I don't think anyone will steal your deal. But if you don't want anyone to look at your deal, then we won't do it now. I'll do it in private. I won't. So, but I'll try to get to it tomorrow for you. But I try to get you guys numbers back within 24 hours. I just get a lot of submissions. So here, let's check out your property you want me to call. So the Doge Father, I love it. We love Doge. This property you want me to call? What's the reason for calling this property? Any insight I should get before I call them? Looks like your regular house in Plano. It's off market. Love it. Zillow says it's worth $350. What do I think it's worth? Where in Plano is this? Okay, it's in East Plano's usually not good, but this area is not bad. Right near the park, so that's actually not a bad area. 350 seems a little high to me though for a 1,500 square foot house. Anyways, what's the reason we're calling this one? I can't check MLS unfortunately right now to see if they have a mortgage. But if you guys have props in or privy, feel free to pull it up for me.
Max, send me the address. I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, I don't know what the heck's going on, man. Here, it's in the chat. It's right here. 4127 Sonora Drive.
How do I get to the chat?
Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna click right here, Skylar, on the Mariners Mingle, and then you're gonna click Open Chat.
I'm not good with technology.
I know you're not, buddy. And then you got to give everyone the office tour in a second.
Okay, I don't. Okay,
I
so where's the
submitted my
chat?
first cash deal today. Thank you. Yes, L. Thank you. I saw your message. Congrats.
You said Mariners mingle, then the little
Dude,
open.
you're right. I can check it on PropWire. You're so right.
Is it 4127? I know.
I don't. It's
Yeah, that's it.
yeah.
All right, cool. I'll pull up the mortgage.
But yeah, we'll also check and play. Okay. Anyways, I'm just gonna call them. I have no idea what I'm calling or what I'm doing, but I'm just calling because you told me to call. Please don't steal my deal. Property is a duplex. One unit is available for rental and has been for over a month. Post on the door saying a warning from Plano for raging grass. Okay, so it's a duplex. Okay, so I don't know if it's the same in your guys' state, but here in Texas, it's probably the same. You have duplexes, but you can purchase half of a duplex. So, for example, our fund, we don't mess with that because we want to own the whole duplex. Sort of a nightmare when you own half a duplex. It's a whole thing. So, property is a duplex. One unit is available for rental. Okay, I assume the whole duplex is available. So, is this the owner's number? I'm just going to call. Enough worrying.
It also says it doesn't have a balance neither, Max.
It doesn't have a what?
It doesn't have a balance on prop stream. It
Oh,
says
so
zero.
so when we hear that there's no mortgage, then we immediately think seller finance. So let's see if we can pitch a
Seller
seller finance
finance.
offer. Let's see if they're open to selling. No, man, I won't steal your deal.
Has been forwarded to
They
an
didn't
automatic
answer.
voice message system.
But if we get the deal, it's all you. It's all yours. So what would I have said on there? I said, "Hey, my name's Max. I'm a real estate investor. I have a real estate fund, and we're looking to buy properties in your area. Are you open to selling your property at 4127 Sonora Drive?" What would you say? "Hey, I'm a real estate investor. I'm calling about your property at 4127 Sonora Drive. Would you be open to a offer?" And then they're like, be like, "I don't really want to talk right now." You're like, "Hey, just give me 2 minutes to stay on the phone with me. I just want to make you a really quick offer." You whole knowing wholesalers, "Hey, please, just 2 minutes. Let me just give you an offer." Right, guys, never hang up first. If you hang up first, you have failed. I never hang up first on a call. The seller, the person who owns the house, will hang up on me because it's. I'm not holding them hostage. They can hang up at any point. So he's like, "I don't want to talk right now." No, I promise you, it's just going to take a second. And then they're like, "I don't want to talk. Get out of here." Well, you hang up if you don't want to talk, right? So when they can say they don't want to talk, they could say they don't want an offer. They could say, "Leave me alone, F off." I'm just going to keep talking, keep being like, "Hey, what if I could do $300,000 for your house? Would you take it?" Yeah, just keep them on the phone until they leave, right? You're not holding them hostage. So that's just my little tip for you. If you guys want to know how I pitch seller finance, I have scripts and everything I can give you. But pretty much, what would I do in that situation? Well, I would want to work backwards. So going into a call like that, I like to know what it could rent for. A house like this, rent's estimate says 2,400. Rent's estimate's actually pretty accurate, surprisingly, in the city. I would say this property would rent for that, maybe a little bit more. Maybe a little bit more. I'd have to see the property. It could be 26, it could be 28. So then what am I doing in my head? I'm saying, okay, if taxes are 1,000, so we can quickly run these numbers in my head. This is how I would do seller finance. And this honestly will happen all in your guys' head super fast. Let's say it rents for $2,500 a month. I don't know what taxes are. Skylar could quickly tell me that, but taxes for that property are probably $600 a month. I don't know, something like that. And then, so we would subtract that. Insurance is usually about $250. So that's $850. So what does that leave us? That leaves us quick math, 1,650.
Daniel, Annual tax last year is 4,200.
So, okay, but it's going to be reassessed higher when you buy it.
Right.
So, anyways, so maybe it's 500, but these numbers are probably pretty close. And that's the importance of doing one market. The more you do one market, you can run these numbers in the back of your head. So if that gives us a total here of, what did I say? 150, 1,150? No. Is someone, I'm blanking right now. Let's say 1,100, 1,650. Is that correct? Yeah, that's
How many
correct.
beds and bath? How many beds and bath are in each unit?
Well, he was saying it's a duplex, so that's a little bit confusing.
Well, I see the land use as a duplex on MLS, but it says it's a 3-2. So how is it split up? Is it, if it was a 4-2, it'd be obviously a 2-1 setup, but
I couldn't even tell you. I'm just running a fictional example because it didn't answer. But anyways, we have 1,650 left. Now we have to figure out what our principal and interest is. But they don't have a mortgage, right? So we create the mortgage. So you would quickly go over to something called an amortization calculator. And I'm doing this literally while I'm on a call with these people. And we're talking to them. And you're on a phone with them. They say, here, let's see, I'll pull up the property. They say, hey man, no, I want $350,000 for the property. And when we're doing seller finance, we don't mind paying a lot for a property if we get a low rate. So we're like, yeah, that's cool. 350,000. What kind of down payment do you want? If they say, oh, I don't know, you're like, well, I can pay you more money if you do a lower down payment. You talk to them. So then in my head, I'm like, okay, 30-year loan, and then I'm like, if I paid 3% interest, boom, 1475. So now I'm like, wait, this property would still cash flows relative, we'll get to that in a second, about $175 at a 3% rate. So I know right now, right off the bat, I know I can pay 3% for this loan. So now we're negotiating. Now I already know what to negotiate. I know my baseline's 3%. So I'm like, hey, you know what? I think I can do, $10,000 down, which would make our loan 340, if you can work with me and we can do a 2.5% loan. Is that something that works for you? Again, I never tell them the interest rate. I say, hey, and I can do monthly payments of, where's the monthly payments of $1,343. And I'm going to give you, sir, $143,000 in interest. I'm actually going to give you almost $500,000 for this home. I know you only wanted 300,000 or 350,000. Dude, I'm going to give you 500,000. But I don't care because 1343, and I'm renting it for what, 2,500, and I'm cash flowing, and I'm still cash flowing. So what did I just do there? For $10,000, I just bought a house that probably breaks even after expenses because you have to factor in stuff going wrong, vacancies, all that stuff. I'll take this deal right now. If I could get that deal, I'll buy it right now. So that's how I do seller finance. Pretty much, you want to work backwards. Step one is figuring out what it rents for, and then it's quickly determining your taxes and insurance. You actually don't need to have insurance. I probably recommend it, but because there's no mortgage on the property, you don't legally need insurance unless your deal with the seller says you need insurance. And then you're trying to quickly then use an amortization calculator to determine what your interest rate should be. So hopefully that was helpful. Wait, I got a cough. Skylar, take over. All right, I'm alive. So anyways, so it's 3 2s with their own backyard. Nice. Exactly. Exactly. Now that's creative. But if I was going cash, so that's the creative route, guys. I would lead with the cash deal. So we would comp the duplex, and this is not a good example because it's only half of a side of a duplex, but let's just say the whole duplex was available. Guys, I was going to make a video on this, but y'all getting a sneak peek. How do you comp a duplex? Kylie probably knows. Kylie's husband probably knows because they work with Skylar, and Skylar learned from Nick, a partner at our company. But comping a duplex is hard. And what's a duplex? A duplex is just a house with another house combined. It's two houses in one building. Or a triplex or a quadplex. Comping those is hard because how you comp a house is you compare it to other houses. But there's not that many other duplexes that have sold. So it's hard to comp it. So what you do is you actually go off of the 1% rule. This is such a cool, I was going to make a video on this, whatever. You guys can get a sneak peek. Let's say we have a duplex and you're trying to figure out what cash offer you should buy that duplex at. So you don't need to go on prop wire and draw a big old circle and look for properties around it. None of that. None of that. At least in the market that I'm in. It may be a little different in your market. We use something called the 1% rule. And what's the 1% rule? I'm going to ask you guys a question. Does anyone know what the 1% rule is? And not you, Skylar. Anybody know what the 1% rule is?
Or just 1% of the purchase price?
Yes, there you go. The Doge Father got it. So rent is 1% of the purchase price. So the holy grail
Yeah.
of real estate is when you can get your rent for your house to be 1% or more of the purchase price. It used to be like that before we had inflation and home prices went nuts during the pandemic. But now we don't have that. So for example, if you bought a $300,000 house, what rent do you guys get in your area? I know me personally here in my area, we're probably looking at $2,000 in rent, maybe 1,900, 1,800. If it was $3,000 in rent, that would be 1%. We're getting less than 1%. We're getting like 0.7. So what are you guys 0.007? What are you guys getting in your areas? So if you go to really bad, I mean like a really an area where like you don't get a lot of appreciation, you'll get more money in rent. So some places in Alabama or locations like that, you may still get 1%. But places like Dallas or Los Angeles or New York, no way, right? I don't know if you guys have any 1% deals. My student housing is incredible because I can get 1%. I can get like 1.25 or 1.5% because I'm renting per room. But anyways, that's the 1% rule. So if you're ever looking at a rental property and it's $500,000 and it rents for 5,000, like yo, I think I got a really good deal. Okay, just so you know. But anyways, so how you comp a duplex is really cool. You just use the 1% rule. So let's say you have a duplex and it's for sale for two. You know what? Can we actually pull up a duplex? First, I'm gonna find a duplex wins. Let's find a duplex for an example. Let's see if I can.
You want to pull up one of the? Do you want to pull up one of the duplexes that me and Kylie were talking about?
Have you guys
So
got it
the-
under contract?
No,
Oh, then
but
don't
they're
do it.
not on my. You can share it.
No, don't do it. I don't want to. I don't want to show any deals that, but we're about to get under contract. So home type, it's not under multifamily. It's not under townhomes. Um, you know what? Let's see if I can backward engineer this to say duplex. There you go. I did it. So that one's way too nice. That one's way too nice. Damn, why are these duplexes so nice? Is there one that hasn't been fixed up yet? And that one sort of looks like shit. Okay, so here's a duplex. So they're saying here, investment property for sale, 2-unit duplex. Each is listed at 320. So we would want to figure out what the rent is for this duplex for one side. So let's say it rents for duplexes are going to rent a lot less than a house. People want to pay a premium for their own house. They're going to pay less for a duplex, or like an apartment rents less than a house. So let's just say this rents for $1,500 a side. Now you multiply that by 2. So we get $3,000 total for a duplex. So now 3,000 times 100, or 1% of 300,000, is 3,000. So we know that we immediately start thinking 300,000. So we have this duplex here. Is 310,000 a good deal? Should we buy it for 300,000? Well, no, we're not there yet. We want to subtract repairs. So how much is repairs going to be for this duplex? Now, duplexes are more expensive to repair than a house because there's 2 sides. So is there good pictures of this one? A 1,400 square foot house. All right, where are my rehab estimators at? This property is not that nice. If we wanted to make this super nice, how much would this cost? Anybody want to give estimates? Skylar, you can jump in. What do you think to turn this into a beautiful HGTV turnkey house? Some of the bedrooms have
That's
already been redone. You have a couple
so
ugly bedrooms.
that's half of a duplex, which is a 3.2 1,400. So you're probably looking at. Usually, this wouldn't be a good example because you're usually looking at 2 units, so you're splitting it up. You're splitting rehab cost up, but in this instance, you're looking at 1 unit, which is a 3.2. So I would just say your regular cosmetic $18 per square foot or something like that.
Okay.
But normally you would do that and then multiply it, by 2. So
No, I mean, yeah. So this is a 2-unit duplex, so it's showing one side. So Skylar's saying that 1,400 square feet is for one side. He's saying about $20 a square foot So he's saying that rehab here is going to be about 30 grand a side. No, that's not a bad estimate. So so he's saying total rehab for this place is probably about 50 to 60 grand. So you can probably do it for 50, but let's just say 60. So now we have
That also does include roof and foundation. So
yeah, exactly. So if we go through these pictures and we notice that the foundation's effed up, do we have any examples of bad foundation? We have some, nothing too bad yet. You know, you would notice it in pictures and stuff. Maybe there's a little bit of cracking. It doesn't look too bad, but it could be bad. And then you would have to check the roof too. But anyways, let's just say it's 60 grand in rehab. We take our 300,000, we subtract 60. Now we're at 240, and then you, the wholesaler, want to make some money. This is what we're probably going to want to sell it at. So this is your sale price. But you, the wholesaler, want to make some money. So now you probably subtract 10 grand, maybe 20 grand, and that should be your offer. So now your offer on this place should be about 220. There you go.
can I,
Just
can I point out another thing?
jump in, Skylar, because maybe I messed up.
If you scroll up to your math before, so right or no, go down where the 300 is. So
Sure.
like before you even estimate repairs, like whenever you do the 1% rule, and this is always good on duplexes, because I mean, this is what me and Max face every day with our company, and we're talking to clients, or you could say buyers, every day about properties. It's not a perfect world. An investor, or like I said, client, or whatever you want to call them, buyers, whatever, they're never going to say, oh yeah, you're totally right, we totally agree with your comp or your ARV, right? If you find comps that suggest this property could rent for 900 per unit. I don't know what you guys agreed on. What was it? 1500,
Yeah.
because it equaled 3. So 1500, times 2, they're going to say, well, I think it can rent for 1300, right? They're never going to agree on what you say ever, because they always want to negotiate a price. And so I would just be conservative and say, hey, if we do believe it can do 1500, continue to do that with your math. So, 300,000 would be your 1%, but then go ahead and subtract, about $5,000 or $10,000 just to be conservative. And then whenever after you calculate your repairs, I would do another 5,000. And then that way, even when you're negotiating your final numbers, can you go back to your math, Max? Even when you're negotiating, go down your final number. So say that was 290. Even when you're negotiating your last number, which would be your sale price, if you had already taken those other numbers into consideration, you would have already subtracted your 10,000 off of your first additional math you would have done with the 1% rule. If you would have gotten your offer at, say it was 230, you already have 10K worth of room. So your probability of selling that already went higher. And it's a win-win situation, because if they counter, you can agree to their counter. You're just not being conservative. And if they agree to it, you might have just made yourself an extra $10,000. So it's
Yes.
always good to throw in that conservativeness, because your investors, like I said, or clients, or whatever you want to say, they're never going to agree with your numbers. And if they do, great, you just made yourself an extra $10,000 margin. And if not,
Yeah.
at least you have something to agree to counter. So
Skylar is so right. Something I learned the hard way was that I was never tough enough on my negotiations at first, which caused me to get a bunch of deals that I couldn't then wholesale. And that's the worst feeling. You, as a wholesaler, actually have a duty to be negotiating harder and being a little bit more of a jerk on the negotiation, because at the end of the day, you're going to make everybody happier. So be more conservative with your numbers, be a lot tougher, give yourself more room for problems, because if you get a deal on a contract and you don't sell it, you've pissed off the buyer, you've pissed off the realtor, you've pissed off your title company who now hates you, you've pissed off your dispo agents, you've pissed off everybody, and more so than anything, you've pissed off my dog, and you've pissed off yourself, and you've wasted all your time. And it's all just because you guys weren't too you weren't conservative with enough with the numbers, and you weren't negotiating harder in the beginning. So you literally have a duty to negotiate harder with the seller. Oftentimes I'll get into sub two deals, and you'll have these sellers who are like, you know, I'm in pre foreclosure, and my life is over. I have no money to my name. I can't even afford gas. Well, again, a lot of time, sure, some of these people that's actually the case, but most of them are just giving you the sob story because they're trying to get the most amount of money too. And sometimes you're doing even more of a disservice by buying into their story, or even if their story is the truth, by just agreeing to their story, because then you end up doing all this work and you're not going to sell their house, and then they're going to lose their house just because you were trying to be too nice. So a hard lesson I learned was don't be too nice in real estate, because you'll actually not only hurt yourself, you'll hurt others. And like Chris says,
Yeah,
don't
and you
piss off soup. Go ahead, Skylar.
worst thing that happens a lot of the times is that you have to go back and renegotiate
That
because
sucks.
it's always possible to,
Yeah.
go back and renegotiate, or, price down, if you will, but
Mm-hmm.
it's really annoying. Kylie, can I say something, or can I
Skylar's
do you
throwing you
mind
under the bus.
do you mind if I bring that up, Kylie?
Oh yeah, sure.
Poor
Go right
Kylie.
ahead, Skylar.
Poor
First
Kylie.
thing was
Kylie's
one,
an
now you're throwing her on the
Kylie's
bus.
Kylie's an MVP. She's the best, 100%. We got into a little situation where this happened the other day. She got a property under contract. I'm not gonna say the address, but if you don't mind me saying the numbers, Kylie. She got a property under contract for around $70,000. I should probably look at my camera. Sorry, I have the screen up as well. But she got a property for $70,000. Not that she wasn't being conservative enough, but the numbers were just still kind of tight on that. Which she wasn't able to really find any potential buyers for that because the numbers, like I said, were just kind of tight and everybody was coming back a little lower. And so we had to go back and renegotiate. Or Kylie had to go back and renegotiate down. We were able to get them down to 50,000. Now that's the property we're putting under
Wow.
contract currently. So we were able to do a little bit of magic, and Kylie worked her magic and it was great. But the agent wasn't the happiest, and neither was the seller. And so that just goes to say, if Kylie would have thrown in that extra 10,000 doing the math the first time, yes, it still would have been 60,000, but still their expectations wouldn't have been as high as coming down from 20, 10,000. So, like I said, it's not a perfect example, but it's an example to show you guys what happens sometimes. And we're actually working with that same seller and agent on a couple other properties with a portfolio that we should be acquiring here soon as well,
Exactly.
which congratulations, Kylie. You're doing a great job. So that should close, and Kylie should make a good amount of money from that. So it'll be great.
Skylar,
But like I
Skylar, you're
said,
telling me that Kylie got a deal under contract at 70,000, which is already incredible. Great job, Kylie. But you guys were able to renegotiate to 50,000, and that is 30% down. And what was the original list price? Because this was on market or a pocket listing.
Kylie, what was the original price? I don't even know.
It was 80.
Okay. So you're telling me you negotiated what, like 43% down or something?
Yeah.
There's so much room on deals. There is so much room. You just gotta just
Yeah.
put some offers out there. All right, Kylie, you gotta tell me how.
Oh god.
No, I mean, like, so what's your approach? Do you just go in hard? Or are you like super friendly? Are you just saying this is the most we can pay? Like, what's the secret here?
I mean, I start out definitely friendly.
Uh-huh.
With this agent, he wasn't super friendly to me, so I just kind of said, if you're interested in an offer, you can message me. And that's when he messaged me 2 weeks later. So it just kind of started out nice. And then I question a lot before I bring up any sort of price on anything. I just question a lot and then get to the price. And then, yeah.
And then can I touch on one thing as well, Max? This might be like a
Go for it.
3-minute conversation, but I think this is probably
Everything
one.
with you is a 3-minute conversation.
I think that this is something that's super important in this regard. This is regarding this property as well, and this was one of the mistakes I made on this property as well. The first time Kylie brought this around, I don't even think it was maybe Kylie not being as conservative as she should have been, but it was also not taking into consideration exit strategies. And this is a huge topic that would be a normal 2-hour conversation, but I just want to touch on it for a second. Looking at properties and looking at demographics in the area and what exit strategies are being currently taken are always something that's super important to look into, because normally you just think, oh, it needs renovation, it's a flip, oh, it's turnkey, it's a hold, whatever it might be. Well, this property, when I first took a look at it with Kylie, I was like, wow, 70,000 is actually a great deal. I didn't do too much digging, but I was like, yeah, 70,000, you should be able to move this. Well, That was because there were two comps, an as-is comp that sold for 72, and then another comp that was renovated, and there was only one in like a mile distance or mile and a half, no, quarter of a mile, whatever, quarter of a mile distance that sold for 115. So I was estimating ARV to be around there, right? Well, this is something that a managing partner had brought up to me. One of our managing partners, Ryan Romo, he brought it up to me and he was like, "Did you take a look at the different exit strategies in the internet?" I was like, "No, I didn't. I probably should have." Well, come to find out, most properties that have sold in the last year there were actually demoed and then rebuilt on. So there's a lot of new properties coming up. I didn't even notice that. There were like 10 properties that had been demolished and then rebuilt back up. And so I was like, and Ryan was like, I wouldn't even pitch this to an investor as a rehab because that's not what this zip code is showing. This is definitely, a rebuild, right? This is more of a ground up development. Well, when we took a look at it from that perspective, the numbers came out differently because of, new construction costs, land value, and all the other, stuff that you have to throw into your math, right? And so come to find out, my 70,000 that I came up with, or I think I was at like 62 or whatever it might have been, that actually wasn't even a good deal because that area just doesn't show potential for that. So it's like I said, it looks like a good deal one way, but there's always, a positive of getting another eyes on it and also looking at, exit strategies in that area. Or, hey, is it a good hold, right? Or could it potentially be, Max, what are those other short-term rental type
Yeah,
deals,
yeah, yeah.
like what are they called?
Airbnbs. What do you mean?
Airbnb and all that kind of stuff, but it's the one where pilots
No,
stay
you
and
have like I was
doctors.
saying, yeah, there's so many exit strategies. So obviously you have the rentals, like short-term rental, midterm rentals, student housing, sober
Right.
living, but you also have different options like wraps. You have lease options. You can do a BRRRR. You can do a creative BRRRR, which is called a SIR. So yeah, there's a lot of exit strategies. Usually with just cash deals, your exit strategies are usually fix and flip, new ground, new development where you wreck the building and build a new building, or long-term rental. So sometimes when you're doing a cash deal, this is actually a good video, the exit strategies for the different types of deals. But sometimes when you're doing a cash deal, sometimes you actually don't want to fix up the entire house, make it beautiful HGTV 2024. Sometimes if the neighborhood calls for it, just make it nice enough and then we'll sell it as a long-term rental. It really depends. So what I recommend you do is exactly what Skylar's saying is when you do get it, when you are submitting a deal, whether that's let's say you're submitting a cash deal. Look up at the other properties in the area. If they're all brand new development, literally to the left and to the right is a new home that's 2024. Well, this most likely that house is going to be torn down and you're going to be selling it for land value. But if to the left and to the right is just nice fixed up homes, okay, then it's a fixed up home. Or to the left and to the right is just homes that just look like long term rentals, well, then maybe that's the strategy, right? So always look at the neighborhood and see what the neighborhood calls for. And that will also dictate what you should buy a house at and what you can sell a house at. And then when it comes to creative, wow, there's so many ways. I mean, we can do wraps, we can do rentals, so many beautiful strategies. If you guys have questions about creative exit strategies, that's more for you as an investor, what you should do. Okay, Cashley's writing up an entire essay and she just submitted it. So, Cashley has a deal that she's been working on. Let's pull it up. She's been super excited to talk about this deal and she needs everyone's help here. So, we need to help Cashley. So, let's check
I was
out
gonna
her
say,
deal.
hey, Tony. Tony jumped in
Oh,
the
yeah,
call
Tony,
as
if you
well.
have something you want to talk about now, man, go for it. Tony's our other partner.
Oh, no,
Captain
guys.
Vacation. What's up, dude? Tony
Tony,
is the sub
Tony,
two
your
man. He owns like 13
Tony, your
properties. Yeah.
Tony, your
Yeah.
camera's off. If you want to turn it on.
Yeah, I'm actually driving to dinner. Just wanted to hop in real quick
Let's
to say
go.
hi. Just hear what you guys were talking about. Yeah, I'm excited to see this deal. I kind of was looking at it right. Join. I want to see what this is. It's in the Indiana, right?
Well, this one that
Let me
Cashley's
pull it up.
submitting.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, Kasia, if you want to jump in and talk, feel free to tell me. I mean, you wrote a beautiful essay that I'll read right now, but go ahead and talk.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So I was just, pitching out some emails, just like kind of cold calling and just driving through like some listings that I seen were on the market for a little bit. And this property came up. I reached out to to the agent because it's on the MLS and was just trying to get some information on it. Like, hey, catch me up to speed. The Pace Morby method, kind of not the Morby method, but the way he reaches out. like, give me caught up to speed. What's going on? I see it's been on the market for a while. Can you give me a little bit of information as to why, or something that may come up during inspection? They were very open and honest about it, gave me the information, the rundown as to why it's been on the market for so long, which I enclosed there. It was a lot, a handful. And so, of course, my initial idea was to wholesale this deal off anyway. And so I didn't give any offers or anything like that. At this point, I began to, I guess, really like confuse myself with, oh my God, who's going to want to take this? This is so much of a handful. And I'm thinking like, this is really what investors like. They like things where they can kind of negotiate down or figure out how they can make this deal work for them. Because I don't think that there's probably any deal that isn't good. It just depends on how the numbers are structured. So I was just working through some things, just trying to run some numbers on my own to see what I could offer. I got the agent to send me over the mortgage information, which I seen they had a existing mortgage owing a balance of like 92 something. I think the interest rate was 6.25%, maturing in something 2053. I think, I'm not sure, but it was the most recent that was paid. And then I asked for photos of the actual issues that the inspector found, but they couldn't because they said they're not obligated to. But they were able to send me the list, and they said that I could do a walkthrough, which to me, I don't feel like it would give me much insight, as some of the things that were listed are beneath subfloor, in the flooring and things like that a contractor may or may not even feel comfortable or want to do if they're not being brought on the project. So I was like, okay, cool, that's fine. But I also asked that they could give me some estimates for what they think it may cost, or if they've gotten any. They also couldn't really provide that to me as well. So I'm just asking for you all's help. I would love to get you all's input. If how would you how would you approach something like this? What are some of your, your ideas or your notes that you take when you're approaching these type of deals, and how do you display them off and market them as such, so that you're not coming off sneaky or, mischievous, trying to, like, I don't know, get over, I guess. Oh my God, did I talk him to death that he left the screen?
He left. Cassie, first and foremost, absolutely amazing job. Just listening to you present that tells me a lot about you and your way of approaching these sellers. A lot of people just, don't take the time to really dig deep and figure out what's really going on. I think you've created a lot of ammo that you can use for negotiating power. So just off the rip, huge, thumbs up on that. Um,
Thank you so much. That sounds so good to hear. Man, you kind of feel like you want to know if you're doing something right, you know?
no, absolutely. And this is where, this gets a little bit challenging, and this is kind of the what Max and I and Skylar kind of struggle with a little bit is, these deals, it's like, well, now how do we properly negotiate these deals without knowing what the end buyer is going to want to do? Um, So I'll let Max and Skylar kind of take over from here. I will let you know, Ashley, I have a really good friend of mine who has one of the biggest wholesale operations in Indiana. So I'm gonna involve him on this deal. I'm gonna hop off because I'm actually getting dinner here with my wife. But Max, Skylar, feel free to help her, and then Ashley, on the side, I'm gonna just reach out to him with the information on this just to see if he can help you dispel this deal. So good luck.
Great. Thank you. Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, bye guys.
All right.
See you later,
See you,
Tony.
Tony. Enjoy dinner. Okay, so I don't know what Tony said. I had to step out for a second, but do we have an estimate on what foundation repairs are going to be?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay.
When I reached out, they couldn't give me
Okay.
anything at all.
Okay. Is it bad enough to the point where you can't rent the house out currently, or is it still livable?
From the photos, they're saying move in ready. From the inspection information, it's saying those things are basically underlying. You don't see them, but they will be an issue. So
Sure.
maybe heavy rain in Indianapolis, which we're set to get some tonight. I don't know if the house floods. I don't know. But I do know by looking at the photos, I see no gutters.
Okay.
So I
Understood.
see an issue there.
So they're out. So let me try to understand the situation. They're asking $160,000 for their house, right?
No, they're not. They're asking 140.
Sorry, they're asking 140,000 for a house, and they have a $92,000 mortgage at a not so great rate of 6.25%. But you
Yes.
want to do a hybrid deal, which is saying I want to take your loan subject to, and then your equity, because in this situation, let's say that their house is worth 140,000 and they have a $92,000 loan, they have $48,000 in equity. And you're saying your equity, I want to seller finance it. So you're doing subject to and seller finance. It's a strategy so yet you don't have to come out of pocket a lot. So your offer
Gotcha.
is $10,000 cash, and you want to do a $38,000 loan at 2.5%.
Yes, I think I wrote 20K down, but I shouldn't have. I probably. Oh, I no, I did. I said it right. Yes, you're right. Reading it.
Now you said PI is
Principal,
673. That's why do you
principal interest.
say that? Because
So
what's
I used a calculator to come up with that. So
let's do it.
basically, in my calculations, I was able to calculate what it would be without any balloon, length of amortized
Okay.
interest, and what I would be using it. And
How long are you amortizing it for? Because this is the
30
disconnect.
years. I'm sorry.
I think your numbers are wrong then, because look, your PI should be 150,
Hmm.
right? Yeah, that's why your numbers are way too high. Immediately, this stood out to me. 673 is way too high.
Okay, let me see here. Let me see what I'm doing wrong.
Are you so $38,000 for 30 years at 2.5% rate is $150 a month.
Oh, I see what you're doing there. I didn't use, because I didn't know what this would be considered. I didn't use the equity of it. I used the actual total cost.
Yeah, no, so just equity. So that's a hybrid deal. So I'm gonna. This is a great question. So let's write this out. We have a house. I wish my pencil worked today, and I'm kicked out of MLS. I mean, what a day. So okay, well, let's try this again. So we have a house. It's a $140,000 house. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait. So wait. I'm sorry. No, excuse me. You're offering. Let me.
106.
I'm gonna take that back. You're trying to do. You're offering 160 with $10,000 down. Right.
Yes.
So you're actually doing
Oh,
150. So you're
150.
actually, if my math is correct, but we'll see in a second, you're actually loaning 48,000. We'll get there in a second. So maybe more. But anyways, let's write out this example for everyone. There's a lot of moving parts here, and then we'll see how we can wholesale this. So
Okay.
$140,000 house. Your offer is, I want to offer you 160,000. Wait, what? You want to pay more money for my house? I actually do want to pay more money for your house, but hear me out here. So, is this a smart idea? Well, we'll get to that in a second. So they have a $92,000 mortgage at a not so great rate of about 6 point something percent, right? And you said that the PI is 734.
Yeah, something. Yeah, something around that. I could be a little bit off. I
Mm,
can look at it to be sure, but I know it's 7. The email is right here. The actual mortgage amount
make sure that's
is.
not taxes and insurance included.
So this mortgage amount says here principal interest for taxes and insurance. You're right. It is 768.43.
That's with
That is
taxes and
principal
insurance.
interest. Yes, it
There you
is.
go. Okay, super important, everybody. Oftentimes, when you look at mortgage statements, they're going to try to bundle everything. So their PI, which is her loan, and her taxes and insurance together is 734.
768,
68 is
768.43
768.
exact.
Now, this number is going to go one direction after you buy the house, up, because most likely taxes will be reassessed. I don't know how Indiana or Indianapolis, I don't even know where this is. I don't know how
Indiana. Yeah.
Indianapolis works. In Texas, taxes would go up. So that's up to you guys to figure out in your state. You can look it up. But
Mhm.
more or less, let's just say we're at 768, just for the sake of this. You know what? Let's make it easy. Let's
Mhm.
just say we're at 800. All right.
Mhm.
We're at $800 a month currently with this $92,000 mortgage. But the sellers have 140,000 minus 92,000. They have $48,000 in equity. So they have equity of 48,000. Well, what we could do is say, hey, we're going to give you $48,000 cash for your home and then sub to your house and sub to the 92,000. That's a lot of
Mm,
cash. That's too much cash, because at that
right.
point, I mean, I'll just write them a cash offer at 100,000 and see if I get the house. Right? I don't know.
Right.
I don't want to pay that much cash. So that's why Pace coined the term hybrid, which is now, can I do seller financing in second position on this 48,000? Let's create a second note. Second position. In first position is this loan. Your mortgage is always in first position. So now behind it is going to be this new debt that you're creating. These are
Mm-hmm.
really hard to sell on sellers. I think your better pitch on this deal is to just give them a low cash offer, and then try to wholesale that. But we'll get there in a second. It's a good learning lesson. So now that 48,000, you wanted to offer 160. let's scratch
Yes.
that out for now. We'll come back to it. Let's not overcomplicate this deal. 48,000. And then, we use an amortization calculator to determine that at 30 years at 2.5% rate, we're close to $200. Okay, let's just run with $200 right now. So if I pay them $200 a month for 30 years, well, I'm currently paying 800, so now I'm at a total of 1,000.
Right.
And what did you say the long-term rent was?
1321.
Well, there we go. It's not that bad. So now we're 1,300. So we're about $300 in cash flow. Now, is that really cash flow? No, you have other things like maintenance, capital expenditures. So maybe you're making $150 a month. That's not too bad, right?
Not too bad, not too much either. I probably say about
Or
$80.
you could be breaking even. But the thing is, you're getting
Yeah.
a house paid off for,
Right.
right? And what
Yep.
did that cost you? Well, it may have cost you, let's see, that in this situation, it cost you close to zero because you didn't pay them any money down. You had a no money down payment. You just had closing costs. So maybe it's
Gotcha.
cost you 3,000. But I don't know if they take that deal. So if you presented them this deal, I think that would actually be a pretty good deal because you could market this as, hey, I'm buying your house with, and you can market it, hey guys, $0 down, cash flow, creative deal. That's how I would title it. If you marketed that in Pace Morby's group, I think you're selling that, even with the
Gosh,
foundation problems. And you know how I know you can sell that? Because
because of the interest.
I sold one just like this. I wholesaled a seller finance deal, no money down, $0 down, 2% interest for 20 years. And the property made $100 a month. It had terrible foundation issues. Foundation was like 10, 15 grand. I wholesaled it because people, again, what did I say in the beginning of this live stream? Creative finance investors are cheap. They'd rather, and again, this is crazy to me. I'm not this way, but most of your investors in Pace Morby's group and stuff, not saying Pace Morby himself, but like the group, these investors, they'd rather buy a bad deal that costs no money than a good deal that costs them 30, 40, $50,000 because they're
Right.
ingrained that they just want to not spend money on deals. So I would present an offer where it's like, hey, would you take no money for this property? If they say no to that, then you got to rethink. What else can we do? I would probably offer 0% interest and be like, hey, you call that principal only. So then you would go back to your numbers here, 0% interest. And I would say, hey, okay, fine. If you can't do this problem, because my pitch would be this. Hey, if you want me to call them right now, I'll call them right now. I'll be like, hey, this property has major foundation issues. It's never going to sell. What we're going to do, you have a bad loan on a property that even if I take sub 2, this property is so difficult to cash flow. So here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to take over this loan, even though it's not that good. And then your $48,000 in equity, I'm just going to, you know what? I'm just going to pay you over time with a little bit of interest. You guys will probably end up with $50,000, $60,000, but that's the best I can do. And they're like, well, what about down payment? Like, I can't do a down payment. I have $20,000 in foundation damage I have to pay out of my pocket. Do you want to pay it? If you can convince them on that, perfect. If there's a realtor involved, maybe you have to pay the realtor commissions. You'll have to figure that out. If they say no to that, then you're like, okay, fine. How about if I give you $5,000 and then I fix the foundation? They say no. Okay, $10,000 max, and then you're like, cool, but I cannot give you any interest on this deal. You're gonna have to do principal only. I'm gonna have to pay you $133 a month. That's how I would pitch it. And if they say no to everything, then you just hit them with like a super low cash offer, like 80,000. So that's sort of where my head's at.
Okay,
What do
I like
you
that.
think on that?
I just learned about a hybrid today. I was today years old. I mean, I've
There you
seen
go.
it. I never dapped into it because I was like, okay, okay. But this actually helps me conceptualize the idea of it. See, I thought that a hybrid was technically subject to because that's what I was doing, taking over a mortgage subject to existing. But I guess this is different because they are I guess how do I explain it? What is the difference between a hybrid and just a normal subject
So
to? I
I'll
mean,
write that
wouldn't
out for you. It's subject to and seller finance. So you have a house right here, and this house is worth $200,000, and it has
mm-hmm,
a $200,000 mortgage on it.
mm-hmm.
This you're gonna sub to this loan, and that's it. There's no equity, or there's little equity. Or if this house was 220,000, maybe you do a sub 2 and then give the seller $20,000 cash. But when you come across a property where the equity is usually 10% plus in equity, when you're finding a property in equity is usually 10% plus. So in this example, it's 10%. But when you start to get to 12, 15, 20, 30, 50% equity, then you're like, I don't want to pay this equity cash. If I have a house and now this house is not 220,000, it's 520,000, but they have a $200,000 mortgage. Do you want to come out of pocket $320,000 cash? That's a lot of
No.
cash, right? And a
Yeah.
bank will not lend. You can get no bank on this because it's in second position. This is already, there's already a mortgage on the property. Maybe you can get a hard money loan in second, but then you're paying like, shoot, you're probably paying 12% interest, maybe 15%
Right.
interest. There's no solution. Oh wait, yes there is. Let's say this 320,000 becomes a note, a seller financing note. So now you say, okay, it's sub 2 and seller finance. And you're going to seller finance this 320,000 at 4% interest for 20 years. That's what Pace then coined a hybrid, because it's a hybrid between, it's two things. It's a hybrid between sub 2, I can't even write anymore, sub 2 and seller financing. It's honestly genius. I mean, what the strategy he created there. I mean, I think it's obviously existed before him, but he popularized it and he used to do those. Super smart, super smart,
Can I jump in real quick?
dude. Please.
This isn't educational. This is just asking. I think we're gonna, if it's cool with you guys, take a. I have you guys up on board right now on the big screen. That's what I've been looking at.
Nice. Are you gonna do
I
a
want
tour?
to. Well, I can do that too. But for our social media, our RFP Instagram, I wanted to get a picture. If that's
Sick.
okay with you guys, if you want to turn your cameras on, if you guys feel comfortable with that, and posting a picture on our Instagram, if that's possible. So I'm gonna go ahead and
All right.
put all you guys on
Let's
board right
go.
now.
All right. if you guys want to be in on it, I'm gonna put on my. You guys are all on YouTube and stuff too, but let's
I'm gonna turn off my camera, and back up. But whoever wants to put on their camera, I'm gonna go ahead and go on here. Give me a sec. I'll tell you guys when I'm taking the picture. I'm not good at this at all, so I'm trying to
let's
figure
go.
it out.
Hey, I appreciate it, Skylar.
Yeah, of course.
No, thank you guys
Thank
for
you guys.
joining. This is fun. I think
Let
we're
me
gonna
hold on.
do.
Wait.
Go for it.
I didn't even take the picture.
I think we do creative Tuesdays and then maybe cash Thursdays or something. But this is fun.
Hold on. Give me a sec. Sorry, I'm trying to figure this out. Okay.
Dude, no worries.
Cool.
And we
All
got.
right. Whoever else turn their camera on, I'm about to take it. So
I love this.
give me one more second, guys. Beautiful. Awesome. I got it, guys. Thank you, guys.
All right, cool. Well, thanks, Skylar. So does
Awesome.
that help you out? I think is Cassie still here? I think Cassie dipped. All right. Well, hopefully that helped her out. Oh no, she's still here. I see you, Cash. Okay, cool. Hopefully that helps you out. If you have more questions about hybrids, I mean, feel free to ask. It's super, super confusing. So if you can learn hybrids, you've just learned 4 years of creative finance. It's the second most complicated thing, probably. It's a third most complicated thing behind, I would say, Morby method, wraps, and then hybrids. If I had to classify complex creative finance strategies, Morby method, wraps, then hybrid. So you're learning the high end game right there. Now, convincing a seller on that is tough. It's a lot for them, because not only do you have to understand it, they have to understand it. And that's why I bring you guys full circle back to why cash wholesaling, as much as it hurts my soul because I'm a creative investor, it's so much easier. It's because these people understand cash. So we always lead with a cash offer and then we try the creative route. Most of your sellers are not going to want to do that creative. It's too confusing for them. They don't have the brain power. They don't have the motivation. They just want to be done with the property. But some of these guys are going to be like, sure, tell me more about that. And then those are the people where creative works beautifully. The deals I've wholesaled is because either they were desperate and they were like in pre-foreclosure and they just wanted their loan gone and taken care of. That's where Tony, Captain Vacation, does best, is desperation is where creative really works. Or if they're actually sometimes more sophisticated, or like in a position where it's like, yeah, that makes sense. I can make more money. I can lower my tax burden. Yeah, this makes sense. Tell me more about it. Those are usually the two sides of the equation. So yeah.
I also wanted to say hi
Please.
to Amaje. He was at sorry,
Oh,
Max.
Amaje?
Yeah, he was actually at our office today, everybody.
What's up,
Getting
bro?
out here, making connections.
Send me those pictures. I got to post them. So if
I
any
will.
of you are in Dallas ever, please come to our offices, hang out with us. I'll teach you all about wholesaling. If you know anyone in the area, we're hiring like crazy. So love to work with more of you. And if you're looking like just wholesale and DFW, and we'll help you close your deals. I mean, Kylie is the number one success. I mean, okay, it's Kylie. I'm sorry. You're the number 2 success story for now. Skylar is still. You're almost beating Skylar at this pace. You'll be the number 1 success story. How many deals do you have right now, Skylar?
I'm gonna have to beat Skylar.
You have to.
I'm gonna
So
have to.
Calm down, Max.
Skylar, you're at 4 deals in 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Calm down, Max.
You're at 5. Okay, Skylar's at 5 deals in about 3 weeks. Kylie's at 2 deals in her second week. It's a race. I love to see it. You guys are killing it.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, well then that's it for me at least. I'm going to. Do you want me to do the tour real quick? Because I'm about to hop off.
Yeah. Give us a tour. I'm not gonna be on too much longer. I gotta I have to go to rental property. Actually, my water heater burst. That was fun.
I don't know if this is.
$1,500 later, we got it fixed.
I just flipped my Mac around. Can you guys see?
So Skylar's in our conference room right now. There you go. It's the blurriest camera, Skylar. We're gonna have to
I can't
get
see what I'm looking at.
You're
so I
good,
hope
buddy.
This is
So
good.
this is if you guys can't see that, but there's a nice lake view. There's everything. Let's go show the office, Skylar. We really need to work on your camera quality, man. So yeah, our offices are in Las Colinas here in Dallas. Dude, yes. Come visit us during vacation. Work during your vacation. So yeah, it's a good time. We're the company's killing it. It's honestly just because of people like you sending us deals. I think we closed our 22. Yeah, I think we're at 22 deals this month, which is our record for this month. So we're 23 days into the month, and we've closed our 22nd deal. So we're on track for about a deal a month, and hopefully with your guys' help and you guys submitting deals, we can get to 3 deals a month is my long-term goal. And I really think y'all can do it. Just there's nothing stopping you from getting on the phones or texting and just closing those deals. I think we finally have a community to support it. I'm so happy.
If anybody wants to see where, can you see the camera? Is it good?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. There's
Maybe wants to see where Max does all his work.
there you go. I mostly do my work from my house.
Can you see Soup's blanket down there?
There's Soup's bed. That's where Captain Soup sleeps. So it's a good life, guys. So does anybody have any other creative questions? I can is shooting from a potato. It's so bad, Skylar. You're gonna see this video on YouTube and you're gonna laugh. You look so blurry. Bro.
I'm heading out, so I'm gonna hop on my phone.
All right, sounds good, man. Jump on your phone. I think if nobody has
I'll still be on list.
All right, if nobody has questions, I'm going to give you guys a 10-minute overview of novations and give you guys a cliffhanger on novations, and then probably jump off unless y'all have some more questions I can answer. I mean, I'm here to answer your questions and help you on your deals. When I was wholesaling, I didn't have anyone I could call, so I just kept watching Pace Morby videos. So at least leverage me. I've watched probably 3,000 Pace Morby videos, so I'm just a Pace Morby dictionary. So if I can just be an answer for you, a chat GPT of Pace Morby, please let me help you. All right, so no one has questions on creative. So I know cash offer or terms. Yeah, actually, let me quickly talk about the Discord because really, what's the point of this Discord, and then where are we at with the roles and how are things going to work? So y'all know that you are old powder monkeys, and that's just the initial role I created, and it's pirate themed, as you know. And how it's going to work now, there's going to be some changes happening in the Discord. I haven't updated it yet. Please give me a few days. There's going to be our students. It's not paid. I don't charge you guys $15,000, $10,000 for a course. Again, we win when you guys send us deals, and you win when you send us deals. So we're not going to do anything paid. So anyway, so we're gonna have like the students, and those people I'm just gonna slowly hand pick, and those types of people prefer if you're local in Dallas, but you don't have to be. I'm gonna start to give you guys actual scripts and phone numbers that we're paying for, and things. You can go door knocking, you can go hammer the phones. We're gonna give you leads, and I'm gonna pay for these leads. So not only getting free education here, I'm gonna let you give you free scripts, free everything. Those are gonna be called sailors. So that's that. Again, we're just going to handpick you. So if you're not chosen immediately, don't worry. I'm just trying to pick people I know and have a relationship with because it's a lot to manage. I'm just one person, and then maybe I'll get some help. So yeah, I'm going to start finally giving you guys lists to call, and then I'm still here answering all of your guys' submissions. So if you guys have a lead, please submit it in the submit lead forms. We're just going to answer back with the most amount of money we can pay for a property. You go back and negotiate the price. You get it. We're going to change the payment structure. So we're going to simplify it. I'm going to make it so that you make a lot more money. I tried to make something a little bit unique. It didn't work. I want you guys to make even more money. So that will be coming down in the future. And then pretty much if you don't want to become a student or don't want the list or just sort of want to do your own thing, that's cool. I think we're going to call you a gunner and you're just going to be on your own wholesaling. So, and then if you are a sailor, you'll have a mentor. So there's a lot of stuff happening in Discord. I got some really big aspirations for it. Really what I'm trying to create is a community where you're going to be, people are going to be teaching you and you're going to be making money at the same time. So so that was that. Pick me now and I'm coming to Dallas, dude. Seriously, come to Dallas. Yeah, I mean, and if you do live around here, we're hiring. What's up? Please go ahead.
Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can you explain on novation again? I missed that part.
Yeah. Okay. So that was a Discord. So let me wrap up by talking about novations. So cool. I don't have to talk more about this Discord, even though this whole thing is so exciting to me. So a novation. What is a novation? God, I love novations. So our fund is actually doing a lot of novations. And a novation is a fancy word. Actually, novation between us, it's a dumb word. Why do I say it's dumb? Because novation just means to what does it mean? To make something new on a contract or something. It's similar to like an amendment. It's a bad name, but whatever. In wholesaling and in real estate investing, a novation is a way that you can JV, not with another wholesaler, but you JV with the seller and you flip a house usually without ever buying it. You don't buy it. No purchase. What? That's crazy. And why do we like novations? Because when we're wholesaling deals, we usually have to go off of the 70% rule. We're offering 70% of ARV, right? But the problem is that's a low cash offer. And a lot of sellers want more money. They want more money. You can see how excited I am about this, right? So sometimes we use a strategy called a novation, which allows us to pay more money. The general rule of thumb is that you have the 70% rule, and then you have a novation, which is about 78%. Why 78%? I don't know. That's what usually people go off of. But with us, as you know, we have really good buyers, and the better buyers you have, the more money that you guys can pay for a property. So you guys can get more deals, and we can wholesale more deals because we have really good buyers, and our buyers pay more money. See you, Skylar. So we can usually get deals up to 75% ARV. So y'all can usually get deals for 5% more. Let me mute Skylar. Yeah. See you, Skylar. Bye, buddy.
How was your day?
I'm banning him. He's not allowed in this Discord, actually.
What's up?
We have a
How was your day?
Thing. All right, goodbye, Skylar. All right, Kylie, I banned Skylar for 7 days. So anyways, back to this. So then with novations, we can usually pay, instead of 78%, we can usually go up to 80 to 85%. Now, why is that so important? When you have a $400,000 house that needs $40,000 in repairs, let's say, what would our cash offer be? And sorry, this is $400,000 ARV. This means that after you repair this house and fix it up, after you HGTV, you make all the floors gray, you make all the walls gray, you make all the cabinets gray, everything's gray, it's ugly, it looks like a penitentiary, and somebody for some reason wants to buy that ugly house for $400,000. What should we offer for it if it needs $40,000 in repairs? So we usually do 70%. So 70% of 400,000, because we're going to do quick math, is 290,000, right? And then we're going to subtract 40,000. So we would offer 250,000. That's how much we would pay for that house. You guys know this. This is 70% rule. But the seller says, that's not enough money. You're like, what do I do? Do I do sub 2? Do I do seller finance? Well, what if I just do something called a novation? Seller, what if, and here's the pitch for novation, guys. You ready? What if you let me have access to your house for a minimum of 60 days, maximum 90. I fix up the house myself with my expert crews. I bring in my own crews. We come in and you watch the whole process as we transform your house. HGTV 2024. Move that bus. We make your house beautiful in 60 days, and then we relist it with our expert realtors, A-class realtors. We'll pay the realtor commissions. We'll pay the closing costs. We'll pay all the rehab. We'll pay everything, and we'll pay you more money for your house. You know, I offered you $250,000. Hold on, Skylar's calling me. Skylar, I'm gonna call you back. You know, I offered you $250,000 for your house. If we do this strategy and you just allow me access to your house for 60 days, all I need is access to your house. Go live with your grandma. Go live in a Motel 6. I don't care. Just give me access to your house for 60 days. I can pay. And then this is usually when you can usually pay on average. On average, on a novation, guys, you can usually pay 10% more. Everybody's doing novations differently. Everybody's calculating them differently, but this is on average. So instead of 250, you can say, hey, you know what? I can pay you 275. If you're not confident with exactly how much you can pay me, just talk to me. But this is the pitch for innovation. I can pay you 275. 275? That number works for me. You know, 250 was too low, but you're telling me you can pay me 275? Yep, I can pay you 275. Okay, I'll take that deal. So what just happened there, and what the heck am I talking about? I'm gonna make a YouTube video on this. I'm so excited. A novation is you're flipping a house. So we're gonna go in, we're gonna flip that house, like I said in my pitch, but we're actually never buying the house. So when you buy a house, you have closing costs. I have to come out of pocket $250,000. Somebody has to give me $250,000, usually in the form of a loan, a hard money loan. That's like 12% interest. And then while I'm flipping that house, not only am I paying the 12% interest for the 3 months that I'm flipping it, and then for the 1 or 2 months it's on the market, I'm also paying taxes. Maybe I have insurance, I have utilities, I have all these holding costs associated when I'm flipping a house. So it's all these costs. But what if I said, hey, seller, I'm going to partner with you. I'm going to be your JV partner. I'm going to come in, fix up the house, and then I'm going to help you sell it. And then if we sell it for 400,000, well, I'm going to give you 275, and I'm going to keep the difference. So I'm going to give you your 275, and anything above that, I'm going to keep. Does everyone do novations that way? No. Some people have different strategies. Some people do a percentage above and whatever. That's not for you as a wholesaler to worry about. That's for the end buyer to worry about. All you need to know is if you can get somebody to agree to give you access to their house for like 60 days. Oftentimes, abandoned homes are great for that. Or they have a tenant there and a tenant's moving out. And you say, hey, I'm going to fix up your home, pay all the money myself, and I can give you probably 10% more for this house. That's a good pitch. So I know I just gave you novations are very complicated too. So let's go back. We got Morby method, we got like wraps, and then we got hybrids, and then we got novations. Novations is not a simple strategy, but that's the gist of it. We're flipping a house without actually ever buying it. Is it risky? Extremely. But you're the wholesaler, you're not actually doing it. So make sure that your end buyer who's doing novations is very experienced, because just like how Morby method's risky or wraps are risky, novations are very tricky, and that's why there's a lot of bad rap around them. People like Pace, people like Jamil, people like Jerry Norton, people like Rick's flipping. Like a lot of these guys, novations, and it's because there's a lot of bad buyers for novations. It becomes a tricky situation because you can imagine you're doing work on a house that you don't legally own, right? So I'm giving you the downside of novation, the dark side of novations. But all in all, I just want to sum it up by this, and I'm going to end my rant. If you find a house and you offer cash and you're not there, and this house is a good flip, it's a great potential flip, and you're close on the negotiations, you ask the seller one simple question. Hey, would you allow me access to your home for 60 days, and then I'll fix it up with my own money? I'll list the house with my own money. I'll do all of it myself, and I can pay you a little bit more money for this house, maybe 10% more. Is that okay with you? I just need access. So that's the big pitch. So will there be a novation link to? Yes. You can just, if you have a cash deal and you're working with me on a cash deal, then you know what? We'll do something like that. When you're submitting a cash deal, I'll have a little tab that says possible novation, probably, or I could create a new form. But at the end of the day, I want to help you with novations. If you're in a negotiation, you guys are super close on the price, we can pitch novation. My fund will do novations. They're awesome. And then novations get so cool because here, I'm gonna show you one more thing. I know I said I'd end my rant. Sometimes you'll find a house, and this is called like a wholetail. Maybe you've heard that word before. let's find a house that's nice, but maybe the realtor didn't take good pictures, or maybe there's just too much carpet. And like this one, yeah, this one could sort of work. Imagine this house that doesn't have very good pictures. These are very good pictures. And you look at these and like, oh, they have the ugly countertops, right? So you could do something where it's like, yeah, you know what? We'll do a novation here. And all you literally do is go in, you like clean up the house, you paint a couple walls, or maybe you don't even do any work to it and you relist it. You could even do those. And that's technically a novation. And all you're doing is just relisting a home. So anyway, so novations could be little minor things where you're literally just taking new pictures to the point where you're pretty much redoing an entire house. The whole point of a novation is you're not actually buying it, you're just partnering with the seller, and it allows you to pay on average about 10% more. Some people will say 5, some people will say 15, probably around 10. So that was a rant. I don't know why y'all listened to me on that giant rant, but do you have any questions or we wrap up this live stream? That was super fun on novations and how you can implement that.
No
Kylie?
questions.
No, Kylie's like, I get it. I got it. I'm probably going to wholesale 6 of those next week. So
I mean, I wish.
yeah, novations are. Tony has done a few of them. Captain Vacation. I haven't found the right one for me. But yeah, I mean, as a real estate investor too, I mean, could you do novations? Sure, that's a cool strategy. If you want to flip homes, but you don't want to actually buy the house, but you want to reap the rewards from flipping it, you could do that. And I haven't even told you the best part. You can do creative novations. Who's to say
Oh
that you
God.
can't? Oh yeah, it gets even more. Let's say you find a property and it needs work, but they have a loan on that property, and that loan is 2.8% interest. So now you can just take over the loan payments like sub 2, and during that time fix the house up and then sell it. So I mean, there's so many ways to do it. It's so much fun. Will there be how do I learn to be charismatic and energetic as you? Do I drink 3 or 4 Celsius energy drinks? What do I need to do? I only drink coffee. No energy drinks for me. But I don't know. I'm just enough sales experience. So if y'all feel like you're nervous on the phones, it's totally normal. I started selling. Shoot, dude, I think my first sales job was insurance at Liberty Mutual in college. I couldn't even get on a phone and talk, but the more you do it, it just becomes natural. Then I went to a property management company called Appfolio, and I had to do like 100+ dials a day. And I'm never working corporate again. But then you just become more natural on the phone. But believe it or not, what's really helped me is just YouTube and just talking. It's been really helpful. The tip I can give to you is you don't have to become a YouTuber. As dumb as it sounds, every morning and every time before you go to bed, spend like 5 minutes like pitching yourself in the mirror. So I used to run through, and I still run through my pitches. So I'll run through my videos now in the mirror, but just running through like your phone calls in the mirror, who's watching you? Don't be embarrassed. So I'll be like, "Hey, seller, how's it going?" And then I'll make up things. I'll like invent scenarios, and just become more, just more accustomed to it. So don't feel weird if you talk to yourself in the mirror. That's my big tip.
Confidence and passion.
It's passion too. You have to love this stuff. I used to work for Quicken Loans call center. The minute you submitted an inquiry anywhere for a mortgage, I called you. Learned some colorful words those 3 months. Yeah, I'm sure. Man, that's a tough job. Yeah, that's a tough job. I really hope that all of you can. I mean, if you have a corporate job that you love, that's amazing. That's rare and that's the dream. But I really hope that y'all can escape the 9 to 5. Wholesaling is a great way to get started and to learn. I think wholesaling to me, yes, it's a moneymaker if you do it correctly, but more so than anything, it's almost like a university where you get paid to go to university, and then that university is investing. The amount that you learn wholesaling is everything you need to know and more to become a successful real estate investor. You wholesale for 12 to 24 months and you do it passionately and you try to learn everything you can, I think you're set for life when you want to start investing in real estate. You know what a good deal is, you know the different exit strategies, you know how to find good deals. Then it's just when to go hard. So we can always talk about, if you guys want to get more personal, we can always do that. My situation now is I'm just trying to build as much money as possible so that when those good deals come, I'm going to go buy them. You have different people like Pace Morby. He's just out buying like crazy. And he has a lot more money than me, and he knows a lot more than me. So that's probably a good strategy for him. But everyone's different. I like to hunt deals when I feel like there's really good deals on the market. Some people just want to just keep buying now and play the long game. So everyone's a little bit different. But for you guys, I think it's just important to learn and just save up as much money as possible. When that good deal comes, you have the opportunity to buy it. Skylar's calling me. Skylar, we're on the live stream. What's up, dude? We're wrapping up.
Are you still on the live stream?
I'm still on the live stream. I'm wrapping up now.
Oh, I thought for some reason I got kicked out.
Yeah, I banned you from the group. All right, say bye to everyone, Skylar.
Okay, see, bye everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Wait, are you hanging?
All right, bye, Skylar. So, anyways, guys, do y'all have any more questions? I'm working my hardest to get this Discord up to a point where everybody can be closing deals. But even in its current state, we've seen that you can still close deals. So, yeah, just keep on submitting leads. We get good leads submitted to us every day.
You're doing great. The
Thank
Discord's
you.
wonderful.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the kind words. I'm putting a lot of heart into it.
Of course. My phone died, so now I'm on my husband's phone.
That's okay.
Which is nice.
Well, wonderful. No more questions, everyone. I think I listened to DMX before I make calls. More pets in the Discord, please. Yes. Submit your pets into the pets channel. We need more pets. The last picture has been me, and I don't want that picture in this Discord. So please, someone else submit a picture. It's just me. All right, y'all. Well, I love y'all so much. This is always a pleasure talking to you guys. We'll be back on Thursday. We'll do more cash on Thursday. We'll cold call. Whatever you guys want.
Cool.
All right. Awesome. Well, yeah. Y'all are great. And if there's any topics you want to cover in the next one, let's do it. Y'all have a wonderful night.
Bye.
Thank you, Max.
Bye, everyone. All right, YouTube, subscribe, and I don't know, just join the Discord. I love y'all so much. If you watched this whole live stream, which there's no way you did. I just love you guys. All right, bye guys, bye.